This is the Cowboy basketball roundup with Oklahoma State head coach Mike Boynton, and what an exciting Saturday it was in Lawrence, Kansas, as the Cowboys went into the Allen Fieldhouse and beat the Jayhawks. There are a lot of coaches that coach a long time in the Big 12 or may coach at multiple schools and never win in the Allen Fieldhouse. Took you 10 months. Amazing. What a great win.
It's a pretty special moment for our program. Most happy for our players, though. Those guys have been through a lot, and our staff for continuing to fight for the culture that we're trying to build here. Got a tremendous amount of character in our locker room. Guys who really want to do things the right way, who really want to represent Oklahoma State as the best they possibly can. And to see them bounce back from what was a pretty rough week and a half or so and go up there and perform the way they did, was very gratifying.
Did you sense it coming? Because you had entered the game on a 3-game losing streak. You had 2 really hard road losses. Then I know you weren't very happy with how your team played against TCU at home. Did you have kind of a feeling that, hey, we might put forth a really good effort, or did you know?
Well, you can never anticipate the performance, especially in an environment like that where, strange things happen, even sometimes when you are in position to win. We saw that with West Virginia last year and there. But what I did sense was on Thursday, after we took Wednesday off, our guys already had moved past the performance. They knew what had happened in terms of we didn't have the energy and emotion. We weren't as engaged in terms of our focus as we needed to be. But those guys were totally committed to moving past that, banding together, and going up there and fighting for 40 minutes, which is what we did. We didn't play a tremendous game. It wasn't a flawless performance, but we competed every possession for 40 minutes and gave ourselves a chance to get a great victory.
Is there something unique about this team that makes it so perseverant? Because there's been a lot of things going on. I mean, not just a 3-game losing streak, but you go back prior to the season, there were things off the court that were happening. Does this team have a unique spirit about it and how it manages some of the things it's had to deal with?
Yeah, it goes to the character of the people that they are. You really find out what people are about when they go through really trying times. And this team's had their fair share of that. And most recently, we're still dealing with playing without the services of one of our top players, top performers.
Shine, yeah.
So to be able to kind of get past that and be able to focus on just the opportunity and to be able to band together and play as hard as they did for the duration of the game and to stave off the big runs that Kansas is known for making in that building, to be able to make a big play at every time that we really needed one, goes to show you the type of commitment they have to representing us the right way, to representing themselves the right way, and representing this program in a first-class manner.
We'll look at highlights of the week in Cowboy basketball when we come back.
The Cowboy Basketball Roundup with Mike Boynton is brought to you by Bud Light, proud friend of Oklahoma State Athletics, famous among friends. By the visitstillwater.org Shop, Dine, and Stay partners. Be sure to shop, dine, and stay in America's friendliest college town. By Mercy Health. Your life is our life's work. And by OG&E. Power at the speed of life.
Hi, I'm Coach Gundy with Oklahoma State University. With approximately 900 Oklahomans waiting for a life-saving transplant, I encourage everyone across the state to make the important decision to be an organ, eye, and tissue donor. So check your driver's license for the Little Red Heart. If it's not there, visit lifeshareok.org and join the registry today. I have the Little Red Heart. Do you?
Back on the Cowboy Basketball Roundup. First on the docket on this show, a look at the home game against the TCU Horned Frogs in Gallagher-Iba Arena as we look at the highlights. And, you were able to get off to a pretty good start, but without Tavares Shine in this game and with TCU's unique skill set, they pose some unique challenges, don't they?
Yeah, they got great length, which makes it really, really difficult for you to make passes necessary to have a great flow offensively. They rebound the ball at a really high level, but we thought we could attack them by forcing a tempo, by getting after them on the defensive end and putting ourselves in position to get some easy baskets.
There's one of the options off of your spread motion, isn't it?
Yeah, we want to hit that guy on the handoff and roll him to the rim, which forces the help to have to really make a decision how far they want to stay away from the big guy at the rim.
Yankuba Sima was the one finishing that play. Is he getting acclimated now to gameplay? Because, of course, he became eligible at semester.
He is. It's taking a little bit time for him to figure things out in terms of how best he can help our team. But he's getting much more comfortable playing with his teammates out there on the court.
able to get out in transition as Kendall Smith gets the basket. Another opportunity here as you're able to get out into the fast break and get some easy baskets. And here's Cam McGriff and sharing the basketball. And Thomas DeZagua with the three. You know what's unique is that in the last month, he scored almost all of his points in the first half. Interesting piece of trivia.
Yeah, we got to find a way to get him more consistent, to get him better looks in the second half and get him more opportunities because obviously he's still shooting the ball at a really high level.
Jeff Carroll knocks down the three. Carroll on the game with 18 points in the contest. And then you see early in the second half, something that it seems like you've been doing a lot. Start the second half, you try to go inside, play inside out.
We want to establish something on the block and in the paint to get our big guys going, but also put ourselves in position to maybe get fouled. We just weren't able to sustain the level of energy and intensity throughout the course of this game to keep ourselves in a position to try to win.
Yeah, TCU got a fair number of easy baskets. They shot 56% from the field.
Yeah, you can turn the team over 20 times, but if you allow them to shoot 65 to 70%, it'll make it really difficult for you to win the game. And we certainly put ourselves in a really, really big hole by not getting enough stops and certainly not being able to execute offensively quite as crisp as we're capable of.
But you were able to get back into the game. Down by 16 here. This was huge, a 4-point play for Jeff Carroll.
Yeah, big play for us to cut the lead down from 16 to 12. Great drive by Kendall Smith and a fine for him. But again, we kept fighting and clawing. We just couldn't muster up the energy to get ourselves over the hump.
You see Carroll knocking down the free throw here to finish it off. And then Cam McGriff with a drive and a dunk, and boy, he was terrific. He had 11 points in the game, 6 rebounds.
Yeah, he was the one guy, and we made very special note of the fact that he did bring the energy. He was live. He was locked in for 40 minutes and really kept us at least in range to try to make a comeback here in the second half when we got down so far.
And the game becomes a bit more of a broken court game, and that seemed to help you get back into it.
That's much better for us. It gives us an opportunity to score without the defense being set. We've got really athletic players who can make plays, especially when the floor is broken.
So it's down to 6. Then off and out of bounds underneath, you go to the zone, and Alex Robinson knocks down to 3. That was a big shot, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're not supposed to collapse there on the middle of the zone, and we did, which was a breakdown of the guy who doesn't take a ton of threes, but certainly can make one when he's that wide open.
So it's a 13-point victory for TCU over Oklahoma State in Gallagher-Iba Arena. But when we come back, we'll look at a lot of highlights from the Cowboys' victory over the Kansas Jayhawks in Lawrence. Stay with us as the Cowboy Basketball Roundup continues in a moment. We're back on the Cowboy Basketball Roundup with head coach Mike Boynton. We go to the Allen Fieldhouse for highlights of the Cowboys game against the Jayhawks. It was an 11 a.m. tip. Were you concerned at all about playing that early, or do you think maybe it was an advantage when it was all said and done?
Yeah, we played all kinds of times a day, and I think, especially considering where we were at the time, I was feeling pretty good that our guys would be locked in.
Boy, and they certainly were. Kansas, after an offensive rebound and a made three-pointer, took the early lead, but you led almost the entire way, and Kendall Smith had a career-high day, 24 points.
Yeah, we thought a couple places we could really attack them was in the paint offensively and certainly on the glass because they don't necessarily have a ton of depth and shot blocking inside. Even though they have the big fella, we tried to move them away from the basket quite a bit.
Forcing turnovers, and Kansas struggling offensively early. And boy, Lindy Waters has been hot as of late. Knocks down that 3. He's averaged 12 per game the last 4.
Yeah, he shot the ball really well. He's playing with a lot of confidence, and it's really just a product of the work that he's put in. He's been really active in terms of staying after practice and shooting with our coaches.
Challenging shots at the rim as Kansas got off to a rough start. I think 2 of their first 14 from the field. Smith knocks that down, and offensively you're starting to settle in here. Here's Lindy Waters and McGriff with an easy basket. You got some easy baskets, not only in your half-court offense, but off the offensive rebounds, as you mentioned.
Yeah, offensive rebounding. We did a really good job executing our baseline and sideline actions, which always are kind of like special teams from football from a basketball standpoint.
And a lot of KU shots that were challenged, and you challenged and broke up those handoffs, too.
Yeah, we were really aggressive. We knew that that's one of the ways that they try to attack you is play 4 guys on the perimeter. And Cam McGriff was a stud because he gave us the ability to continue to pressure on the perimeter, even though he's naturally more of a 4-man.
Saw McGriff knock down a 3 there, and then Jeff Carroll draining the 3. You made 12 threes in the game. You hadn't made more than 9 in a conference game all year, but you felt like that might be coming.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've got really good shooters. We obviously haven't shot the balls consistently through the course of the year as I would like, but I still got confidence in those guys. I see them shoot the ball before and after practice every day, so I'm never going to get away from that.
Cowboys made 8 threes in the first half, really flipped the tables on Kansas because They've been averaging almost 11 made threes per game. They were 1 for 8 from 3. Meanwhile, you made 8 threes, and there's Yankuba inside with another of your offensive rebounds. You had 13 offensive boards in the first half.
Yeah, every one of our guys was ready. We brought Kuba off the bench for the first time in a while. He responded the right way by staying focused and giving us some great minutes while he was out there.
Yes, failed to mention that you started a different lineup. You put Kendall Smith back in the starting lineup at point and then went smaller, bringing Sema off the bench. Do you think that impacted things positively?
Yeah, it was definitely a benefit to us defensively because, again, we were able to pressure on the perimeter without having both bigs in. And then we were able to make easier plays offensively because we had more decision makers on the court.
And you're up by 18 points late in the first half.
Yeah, again, we were just locked in. Here comes Seam over there and being aggressive as he has been the last few weeks and blocking shots. We carried a lot of momentum into the half, but we played with confidence. We played with a lot of courage, and we played with tremendous character. No one got outside themselves.
So you're up by 13, and oh, by the way, that's the 4th made 3 of the season for Mitchell Solomon, knocking that down to keep Kansas at arm's length. But every time it seemed like Kansas made a little run, you had an answer.
Yeah, we tried to settle the game, not let their crowd become too much of a part of how the game was going to be played, and really try to put ourselves in position to just execute when we needed to, and we did that.
You knew Kansas would make a run. There's Malik Newman knocking down a 3 that cut the Cowboy advantage to 7. But again, of course, you used a timeout there. You know, and you obviously have to be pretty judicious in how you manage a game.
Yeah, you know, I need to give our guys the best chance to win, and I knew that selling the game right there would be a big part of it.
Yeah, and how about that play by Cam McGriff as we get another look?
Again, just effort, all-out effort. He's the toughest guy on our team. He brings it every day, and he's got the ability to make plays that very few guys in the country can make.
You know, one thing that Coach Self said in his post-game news conference, the Kansas head coach, was how athletic your team looked and how springy they were. And you see these putbacks. You saw McGriff's dunk and a number of the plays in the open court. That's pretty evident, wasn't it?
We play with a lot of energy. We play with a lot of burst. And, again, it was more of our focus on just doing the little things, just going to the glass, making the extra pass, getting out in transition and finishing plays, which was a huge key for us.
Kendall Smith getting to the rim there. As I mentioned, he had a career high of 24 points, and there's another putback. Inside
and opposite, something we emphasize every day. We talk about it, and we were really committed to just doing that over the course of the game.
And Yankuba Sema walling up on one of the nation's best shooters, one of the best post players, Azubuike.
Yeah, he didn't miss many, but that was one where Kuba was able to challenge him, shoot a tough shot over great length.
So it's down to a 9-point game, and as we talked about, just countless big shots. You shot 52% from the field, and you know, even going beyond that, you look at some of the auxiliary numbers. You outscored Kansas 20-9 in points off turnovers, and your second chance points advantage 26-7 was enormous. And you made tough shots when it mattered as well.
We talked about that with our team. You know, we had great effort, and we also took care of the basketball. We limited our turnovers for the most part. Again, we had 20 the other day. And sometimes you got to have a little luck as well.
Oh, sure. In the Allen Fieldhouse, where luck usually doesn't go your way, obviously you'll take it whenever you can. Smith finishing it off inside, up by 9. The thing is, though, you know how this building is. It's never easy. And here's an interesting situation. Smith just sees a broken court, and the next thing you know, he's got a layup.
Yeah, and there's enough time there where you don't want to just play super safe. If there's an opportunity for a clear layup, we had it, and he took it, and I was proud of him for being aggressive.
So you'd missed, Smith and Waters had both missed the front ends of 1-and-1s prior to this. This is a 1-and-1. I'm sure you felt like, hey, as much as you work on foul shots, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, and I called a timeout only because I knew I wanted to make sure that he had his legs under him, he caught his breath, and I just wanted to explain to our team what the situation was going to be regardless of what happened on the free throw situation.
So the Cowboys take down Kansas 84-79. I got to see, obviously, if fans follow Oklahoma State basketball on Twitter, saw the celebration in the locker room afterwards. That's, you know, it's probably hard to express not only the difficulty of winning in Lawrence, but probably the euphoria that goes with it for a team, especially when you go in with a 3-game losing streak. What a special moment that is.
Yeah, and it really didn't even hit me until I got to the locker room, you know, what we
just
quite
too
accomplished.
Consumed with doing your job, so to speak?
You want to get to the finals buzzer, right? And you worry that crazy things happen in there all the time. So even with 5 seconds where we got up 5, I wanted to make sure before I got too excited that there was no time on the clock and we had the lead.
Stay with us. More coming up on the Cowboy Basketball Roundup. Welcome back. You've heard Coach Boynton's thoughts on the Kansas victory. Now let's give you a special look back. Here's some cinematic highlights capturing the drama of the Cowboys' big win in Lawrence.
Good morning. We're at the Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence, Kansas, and we've got a nice Saturday morning treat for you. Cowboy basketball today is Oklahoma State. It takes on the number 7 Kansas Jayhawks. And the Cowboys still do not have a true road victory. But Oklahoma State has had success in this building, and it was a memorable day back on this same weekend in the year 2013. Oklahoma State can pull off an upset win today. It might lead to double backflips by multiple Cowboy players because this would be a huge upset indeed for the Pokes. It's the Cowboys and Kansas Jayhawks coming up from the Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence.
Wow, another offensive rebound. Nobody underneath. Great start on the road for the Cowboys. Lindy Waters knocks down the 3, and it forces a Kansas timeout.
Carroll now off the offensive rebound, right corner McGriff, three-pointer, good! And McGriff nails a 3.
Carroll from the other side, and he got another one. Back-to-back threes by Jeff Carroll.
Offensive rebound, Sema, and he dunks it in.
Smith goes straight up over Mikhailuk and buried it.
Here's Carroll driving it right, attacks an old running jump look around the rim and in.
And surprise, surprise, look who's leading at Allen Fieldhouse. And the lead stretches out to 17.
And we go to the intermission with Oklahoma State on top of Kansas, 46-33.
5 to shoot. Solomon for 3. Got it.
Carroll right wing for 3. Hits it! The Cowboys answer and the lead is back to 14.
Strong, but what a follow by McGriff, the crime dog.
And it goes again for Smith. He has been uber clutch here today. And just hit the free throw of his season.
Mikhailuk right wing, three-pointer. Pinballed out, rebound Kendall Smith. The buzzer sounds, and it takes Mike Boynton all of about 10 months to come to the Allen Fieldhouse and upset the Jayhawks. Well, the Big 12 Saturdays don't get any easier because next up for the Pokes, a weekend date at West Virginia to take on the Mountaineers. Coach Boynton and I break down that matchup when we come back. Back to wrap things up on the Cowboy Basketball Roundup with head coach Mike Boynton. And next up, Morgantown, West Virginia, a road game against the Mountaineers. But we should point out that most of these guys were on a team last year that went to Morgantown and won.
Yeah, we got a lot of guys who are on that team and have gone into that building and had success. So we got to get through this week and prepare the right way. We know they'll get after us. They'll be really aggressive with their pressure. They're more aggressive at home than even out on the road. So you got to play with great poise, but you got to play with great confidence as well. You got to go in there. You got to be the aggressors from the opening tip to the final buzzer to give yourself a chance to win in there.
When you played the Mountaineers in the conference opener at Stillwater back at the end of December, you led for much of the game, and they sort of took control of the game in the second half. Now, they're hard to beat in Morgantown, but they create sort of a broken court game. Does that maybe become a little more favorable for you because of what it gives to you offensively, or no?
Yeah, we took great advantage of getting some easy shots here, especially in the first half, and we didn't do as well in the second half on that, and that kind of is what flipped the game in their favor. So we've got to – it was the first game that we led and then let the game slip away at the end, which became a trend until this past Saturday. So hopefully our experience from in Lawrence will give us a great opportunity to carry that over into Morgantown.
For head coach Mike Boynton and our entire crew, I'm Dave Hunziker. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week on the Cowboy Basketball Roundup with head coach Mike Boynton.
The Cowboy Basketball Roundup with Mike Boynton is brought to you by Bud Light, proud friend of Oklahoma State Athletics, famous among friends. By the visitstillwater.org Shop, Dine, and Stay partners. Be sure to shop, dine, and stay in America's friendliest college town. By Mercy Health, your life is our life's work. And by OG&E, power at the speed of life.